Well, if you guys are big fans of Stardom, you guys are always on the right channel. So we're going to be reviewing some of Stardom's most recent shows. One in Fukui, hopefully I pronounce it right. If not, there we go. The other one in Toyama, and the other one back to Korakuen Hall, of course. But the Korakuen Hall had features three different matches. Two of them are in fact title matches: the future championship and the red belt itself, of course. But the third one I might have mentioned is in fact the final assessment of Anekanaya if she joins Cosmic Angels. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, as always, we wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates, giving you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got through Nike Sayaku Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be gaining a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let it all begin. So as I said before, it's all about Stardom. So let's begin with the first one in Fukui. Hopefully I pronounced it right. Alright, Stardom in Fukui. Hopefully I pronounced it right. And I know I keep repeating myself because I don't know if I pronounce it right, guys. So anyway, this show happened recently, of course, on the 27th of June. Now, we opened up with, I believe, is an 8-woman tag match. We have Neo Genesis, consisting of Emma Maishima, Meisera, Miyu Amasaki, and Azumi, taking on a very unique combination. Utami Ishida, she teams up with the ladies from Stars, consistent of Matoi Hamabe, Saya Ida, and Hana. Now keep in mind, Momo Koko is still out, and so is Yuri Hin. But the match itself went pretty well. I mean, basically nothing too special about this. But however, I think this was more about the rookies themselves, like Hamabe and Maishima. Now remember, Maishima has already challenged for the future belt but lost. But it seems now that Hamabe feels like it's time for her to step up her game, and that's exactly what she did when she applied a sunset flip onto Maishima, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, she had some things to say to her during the post-match promo. And then, of course, Hana got in the face of Mei Sita. I'm not sure if Mei Sita is aiming for the white belt. I know she has won the high speed at least multiple times. She has won tag team belts before. But yes, that's one of the things I have noticed about her. Now, our next match, we have Ito Respect Gundam, consisting of Rian, Kikyo Furuzawa, and Maki Ito, taking on Hate, consistent of Raka, Konami, and Momo Watanabe. Now, of course, when it comes to Hate, we know their usual tactics where they actually use, of course, take the wrestlers outside the ring, try to beat them up, soften them up as much as possible, cheat their way through by distracting referees using their seconds or, of course, the weapons. But unfortunately, this match ended with Raka applying the freezer bomb onto Furuzawa, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Next match, we have Aya Kanaya teaming up with Aya Sakura. They take on FWC, Koguma, and Azuki. Now, obviously, we know how this was going to go because Aya Kanaya and Sakura, as you know, they're just a makeshift team. And this is her way of trying to put herself, okay, how can she be a team player with anybody? And that's pretty much what we do know. I mean, Aya Kanaya is not really. Well, I know she normally teams up with Yuna Mizumori, which is obvious because she was her opponent, and I did learn that she learned from her. She was her trainer. But of course, the Edge was going to go straight up to, of course, the FWC because A, Koguma's the bear, and she does her usual thing. But it was Azuki who taught Kanaya the lesson by applying the Boston Crab onto her, and of course, she tapped out, and it was over right from there. Next up, we have the Cosmic Angels, consisting of Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, and Natsupoi, taking on God's Eye, consisting of Rani Agami, Lady C, and Shuri. Now, keep in mind, this is a preliminary match between Natsupoi and Shuri. If you all remember recently, during the conversion, it was Natsupoi who issued a challenge for the IWGP Women's Championship against Shuri. Now, if you guys remember clearly, these two ladies were part of the same team together. More specifically, DDM, which is the faction that it was once led by Julia. And of course, Natsupo used to call Shuri her older sister due to the fact not only because she's older than her, but at the same time she's also been like always looking out for her. But now they're gonna face off each other, and that kind of sets it up. And of course, this is about her building up the momentum towards their match until the 18th of this month of July, of course. But it was, of course, Natsupoi that picked up the win onto Lady C when she applied that one move. I don't know what to call it. It's more like she does the Maestro, they rolled around in circles. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Natsupoi picked up the win. And of course, during the post-match comment, Natsupoi had some things to say to Shuri. So obviously, this is momentum for the upcoming title match that will take place on the 18th of July. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Hate, consistent of Bea Priestley and Saya Kamitani. They take on Hanako and Cena. Now, obviously, of course, Cena is almost close to ending her tour with Stardom, and that kind of sets it up. And don't forget about Hate. Like I said in earlier, their usual tactics, attacking their opponents, that sort of thing. And that plays out pretty well, but it was, of course, Kamitani that picked up the win when she applied the Star Crusher onto Xena, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over, just like that. Now, our main event, we have God's Eye, consisting of Hina and Ami Suri, 2/3 of the Artists Champions, of course. They take on Amivi La Loca, consistent of Akira Kurigani and Suzuki. Now, obviously, nothing too special about this match. But however, it was Zuzu that picked up the win when she applied the tequila shot onto Hina, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, Zuzu closed down the show during the post-match promo, and just like that, it was completely over. So it was an okay show. It was pretty good. I'm glad that there were some preliminary matches involving, but we'll see how things progress. So let's move on to the next one that happened was in Toyama. Okay, as we continue with Stardom, they made their way to Toyama. This happened on the 28th of June, of course. We opened up with singles action. We have Bea Priestley taking on Ane Kanaya. Now, obviously, we know how this was going to play out, as Ane Kanaya is still a rookie, we know B. Priestley has experience, but at the same time, her affiliation with Hate has speaks for itself. Of course, she was going to use dirty tactics, try to soften her up outside the ring, which is common. But, however, I don't know exactly what B. Priestley applied. It looked more to me from the distance that she used the Falcon Arrow, of course, to defeat her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, B. Priestley won the match. Now, our next match, we have a bit of an interesting combination of an 8-woman tag match. We have the members of Cosmic Angels, consisting of Mizumori and Natsupoi. They team up with members of God's Eye, consisting, of course, of 2/3 of the Artist Champions, Hina and Amisuri. They team up with the combined forces of Neo Genesis, consisting of MMI Shima, Azumi, Miyu Misaki, and of course Meisira. Now, if you guys know this particular date, this is where Starlight Kid, of course, made her way to the Forbidden Door. So she wasn't around for the last 3 events, which I already reviewed the one on the 27th, of course, and the just recently one that I just reviewed, and this one. But it was an okay match, not gonna lie. But there was a great moment where Mizumori, in my opinion, I cannot say that she's one of the best high speedsters, but I can respect her that she used a combination of both high speed and powerhouse into her style. Excuse me, into her style. But facing Azumi, who we all know is a high speedster, very good at of what she does, was able to apply the Azumi Sushi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over, just like that. Now, our next match, we have an interesting tag team match. Konami and Momo Watanabe, they take on, of course, Sakurada, consisting of Sayakura and Aya Sakura. Now, of course, I'm sure Momo Watanabe, as you all know, recently has been made her return after being injured, but at the same time, she's been criticizing Saya Kamitani, calling her weak. I think she might want to know exactly what Kurara is made of, because of course she probably would question, how is it that you lost to someone like her? I think she wants to see that for herself. But obviously, for those who don't know, Konami and of course Momo Watanabe, they used to be part of the same unit, and if you guys don't remember, they were part of Queen's Quest along with, of course, Io Sky during that time. This is before she left, and Konami, of course, got drafted to the Tokyo Cyber Squad, then turned on them, then joined Oedo Tai. But the match was alright, but at the same time, we know that the Hate was going to use their usual tactics. But it was Momo who picked up the win by pinning Kurara, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Excuse me. Now, our next match, we have the members of Star, Matoi Hamabe, Saya Ida, and Hanan. They take on God's Eye, consisting of Rani Yagami, Lady C, and Shuri. Now, obviously, nothing too special about this match to begin with. But one thing that was really amazing is how we did see Hamabe took on Rani Yagami, our future champion. And of course, this was one of those moments where Hamabe is determined to step up her game in order to challenge Yagami, and that's exactly what she did when she applied a sunset flip onto her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then we did see a post-match promo between them. Now, obviously, it was about the future belt, and that match took place at the Korakuen Hall event, which, of course, we will be reviewing shortly. Let's move on, of course. Our next match, we have Utame Ishida teaming up with FWC, taking on Hanako and Mi Vida Loca. Now, this is a preliminary match for those of you. Utame Ishida will be challenging for the red belt against Zuzu in the Korakuen Hall, which is the one we will be reviewing soon enough. But of course, it's all about building up the momentum as we head to Korakuen Hall. But in the end, it was, of course, Utami who applied a German suplex onto Kurigani, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then we did see a post-match promo between both Utami and Zuzu obviously is about their upcoming title match. Now our next match we have, of course, once again Ito Respect Army, Ito Respect Gundam, Rian, Kyoko Furuzawa, and Maki Ito taking on Hate consistent of Raka, Sai Kamitani, and Natsuko Tora. So obviously we're going to see their usual tactics as we've seen with Hate all the time, but in the end it was Kamitani that picked up the win onto Rian, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hate picked up the win, and of course Hate closed out the show, and just like that, it was completely over. So that's pretty much it for this particular day. So let's move on to the final review of the Stardom episode, of course, in Korakuen Hall. Okay, final review from Stardom. They made their return back to Korakuen Hall, and this happened on June 30th, of course. We opened up with the ladies from Hate, consisting of Fukigen Death, Azusa Inaba, Uraka, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora. Now, obviously, nothing too special about, of course, story wise or anything. But, of course, Shuri is, you probably know, the current IWGP Women's Champion. Ami Suri and Hina Lady C are the current, artist champion. So, anyway, if Hate was able to pick up a win against one of those four individuals, it would have been, of course, the obvious thing to do because, of course, they had a Kyoka Kotatsu. Nothing too special about that. But we did see their usual tactics, using weapons, taking their opponents outside the ring, trying to batter them up as much as possible. But that failed miserably because it was, of course, Lady C with the big boot onto Fukigen Death. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, God's Eye picked up the win. Once again, we have, of course, Ito Respect Gundam, consisting of Rian, Kikyo, Furuzawa, and Maki Ito. They take on Mi Vida Loca, consisting of Kira Kurigani, Aoki, Izuki Aoki, and Rina Yamashita. Now, nothing too special about this match whatsoever. But of course, we know their strengths and weakness. I mean, Mi Vida Loca are really crazy. They are tough as they look. Ito Respect Gundam are trying to make a name for themselves since they were first formed, and that's pretty much what we do know. But in the end, it was Aoki that applied a sidewalk slam onto Furuzawa, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Next match, we have Neo Genesis, consistent of Emma Maeshima, Mei Sita, Miyu Amasaki, and Azumi. They take on Hanako, Xena, and of course Wingori, consisting of Saya Ida and Hanan. Obviously, nothing too special about this, but of course, Xena, as you all know, she's getting closer and closer to the end of her tour that will end until the July 18th, which is her final match, of course. But man, it was a pretty good match, but in the end, it was Xena who picked up the win with applying the German suplex onto Maeshima, and just like that, it was over. And then we did see a post-match promo from Hanako talking to O2 Line. As you all know, Hanako and Maika are issued to challenge for the Goddesses of Stardom, which is the tag belts. Now, they had to put that on hold due to the fact that Maika was traveling overseas, and I'm sure we will see that soon enough. But also talked about Xena. As you all know, she'll be leaving soon. Her final match will be on the 8th of July, which we're getting there soon since today is July 5th. We're like only 3 days away from that, so can't wait to see how that plays out too. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting one. Hate, consistent of Konami, Sai Kamitani, and Natsuko Tora. They take on Fuwa-chan and FWC, Kogumo and Azuki. Now, of course, we know exactly what Hate were all about and all that. But we did see how, of course, they're trying to separate the weakest link. But unfortunately, Azuki ended up taking the mist from Natsuko Tora, but it backfired. But there was a misfire between, of course, Konami and Kamitani. Basically, Kamitani accidentally took her out, and of course, I'm sure Momo is watching this, like, what the hell? And because of that, that led for, of course, Azuki to apply the Maestral onto Konami, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, this is one of two championships, the future of Stardom. We have, of course, Matoi Hamabe and Rane Gami. Now, we have seen a little bit more of the improvement with Hamabe, but the one thing I was mostly concerned is the fact, if you guys remember, she had months off from being out of injury, and that kind of played out pretty well in some capacity. But she was able to make improvements, picking up matches that she was able to win, others that allowed her, of course, to pick up to prove herself that she earned her position to be part of Stars. But however, she was unprepared with, of course, with Rane Agami applying a submission onto her, and just like that, it was over by tap out. Then we did see a post-match promo between both ladies. I don't know what they said, but I'm sure it was pretty well. Now, our next match is the final assessment for Ane Kanaya. Now, as you all know, the Ane Kanaya has issued that she wants to join the Cosmic Angels, but the Cosmic Angels have always had about a tradition to assess their new recruits. I mean, we saw that with Yuna Mizumori, and then we saw that with, of course, with Sakura and Kurara, and they all of them entered it very well in specific timing. And now they're going to try to do the same thing to her. But the real question is how much she can pull it off. I have to say, Ane Kanaya, we can see that she has the fighting spirit, but she was no match for none other than Natsupoi when she applied the fairy ring onto her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Then we did see, of course, post-match promo where, of course, Natsupoi asked her a few questions like, how does she feel about this match? She felt frustrated, but she told her, it's not about the cuteness, the costumes, and all that. It's the fighting spirit and all this other stuff. And of course, she even welcomed her to the Cosmic Angels. However, Natsupoi made another bold move. Now, I don't know if this was a smart move, but I like to give my opinion about this one, of course. As you all know, we all presumed ever since Tam Nakano was in fact forced to retire, we would have assumed that Natsupoi might have taken control of the leadership. However, Natsupoi decided that she was going to pass on the leadership to Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara. So basically, they were going to be the co-leaders. Now, some of you may question, why would Natsupoi do that? I would say maybe being a leader might have been tempting for her, but at the same time, I think Natsupoi is more of a follower than, of course, than a leader. But also, others explained something that was very true. Tam Nakano, long before she was forced to retire, saying that she felt that the Cosmic Angels' future is secure with the next generation, meaning Kurara and Sakura, and that's the main reason she feels that maybe those two will continue to lead what she left behind. And I think Natsupoi may have been trying to fulfill that wish that Tam Nakano wanted. And of course, it's no secret, as you know, because these two were the final disciples of Tam Nakano before she retired. However, when the announcement was made about making both ladies into leaders of the Cosmic Angels, let's just say Sakura was a bit miffed about the idea. So instead of saying that she's a leader, she calls herself the captain of the Cosmic Angels, but Kurara is the center of the attention, which is saying Kurara is the leader. Now, I don't know if it was out because she felt like she doesn't want to be in her shadow. I don't know. But it seems that's what she wants to go, and it seems like that. And I have to say, Sakura made a very interesting, as you all know, whenever the Cosmic Angels announce who's in the group, especially when they're in fact new members, they go by calling everyone out like a roll call. And I thought it was very impressive to do so. So, yes. Now, our final match, our main event, is the World of Stardom Championship, aka the Red Belt. Utami Ishida, since she made her return, decided to put herself in positions, of course, that she wanted to put, and she challenges Suzuki for this one. Now, of course, Zuzu probably felt, that Utami Ishida basically just came back, whatever, try to criticize her for whatever reason. But I think Utami Ishida is trying to find herself again, because I know she was frustrated about how things were going before she left Stardom, and then of course when she left Mighty Gold. But however, um, it was a very tough battle between both ladies. But in the end, it was Zuzu that picked up the win with the German suplex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then we did see Zuzu during the post-match promo talking to Atami Ishida. I don't know what they said, but I'm sure there was some good talk about that. And of course, Zuzu ended it closing out the show since she retained the championship. So we'll see who will be the next person to challenge because, as you all know, we're getting closer to the 5-star Grand Prix, and we're going to determine who's going to be the next person to challenge her. So we'll see that too. So for now, we'll end things here and move on to our last and final thing to wrap up our episode, and that is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin as always with upcoming events. Starting with updates with GCW, we only have 2 of those at the moment. As you know, they'll be making their debut in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the 19th of July, called the Tussle in Tulsa. They just announced Bear Bronson will take on Brick Savage. And then, of course, we had the Rude Awakening, which will happen on the August 1st in Minneapolis, which is around WrestleMania around SummerSlam time. They announced that the GCW World Championship will be on the line. Atticus Cogar will defend it against Devin Monroe. Now, on to other ones. Of course, on the 16th of July, Produce will have the Volume 2 event, Tiger Style. They just announced the final participant for this one, and that is, of course, Andre Chase, which is the Magic Ticket Battle Royal. So basically, 15 individuals will be facing for an opportunity for the final spot of something that's going to happen soon. So that's very interesting. Now, as you all know, Tokyo Super Wrestling will have later on this month, on the 18th of July, which is the same big show from, of course, from Stardom, the Summer Sun Princess, and it was already announced what the full card's going to be. Of course, the top title, the Princess of Princes, will be defended. Yuki Arai will defend the championship against the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita. Then we have the Princess Tag Team titles. Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi will take on Shoko Nakajima and Hyper Misao. Then we have the International Princess title. Zuzumi will take on Wakana Uehara, which is going to be very interesting. We have Mizuki taking on a secretive wrestler. We don't even know who it is. Aja Kong will take on Arisu Endo. Then we have, of course, Yuki Kamifuku teaming up with Kandori and Sakura Tori. Then, of course, we have Yumito Inamari, Sanjiro Tagagi, and Mahiro Kiru. Then Yuki Aina will team up with Haru Kazushiro, and they will take on Toga and Mirai. Iwawari will team up with Shin Sakura and Mifu Ashida. They take on Chika Nanaze, Raku, and Pamadajuku. Then we have Utami Takami and Ren Konatsu taking on Shin Suzuki and Shion Kanzaki and Momo Sato. So that's pretty much the card for this one. As you know, there's a Filipino event called Dexcon. They announced for this event called Jam of the Yoshi 2. They'll take place also on the 18th. They just announced Chelsea Marie, who has been appearing in other promotions out of Asia, will take on the current Super Asia champion Miya Yatsuba, but in a non-title match, in case anybody asks. I thought it was going to be a title match, but no. Now, if you guys remember, Kira Summer will not be involved in the Tokyo Super Wrestling event. Well, it turns out on the same day in her native land of Adelaide, Australia, for the Adelaide Championship Wrestling, and the event's called Art of War. She'll be facing off her very own sister, named Mickey Fortune. So basically, it's going to be sister versus sister. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to watch this, but I can't wait to hear what's going to go down there. Then, of course, we have the RevPro Women's Grand Prix. It'll happen on 25th of July. The fifth competitor that has been announced is Shayna Baszler. Then we have, of course, Jersey Championship Wrestling in our house. That will happen on the 26th of July. They announced Marcus Mathers taking on Beads Lewis. So yeah, there's that. Then we have Kitsune Women's Wrestling for Stay With Me on the 26th of July. They just announced the master ceremony and is none other than former Tokyo Triple Wrestling's ring announcer, of course, Sayuri Namba. So I think it's going to be really fun. I wish I could be there to check it out, but no. German promotion WXW announced for the Extreme Wrestling Party 2026. They'll take place on the 25th of September. They just announced Joey Janela will be participating. Now on to some developments. Monthly Pirusa has revealed that Athena asked that she would love to have a match against Starlight Kid. Now, of course, Starlight Kid hopes that she'll be back, and I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting matchup, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Arn Anderson talked with Wrestling Observer, and he told that Tony Khan is a class act. He treats AEW talent really well. There's no secret about that. I think some people might have thought, Tony Khan was a dick or whatever, but yes, that's how it is. Pro Wrestling Evolution. Now, as you all know, two of its original members, Chi-Chi and Zones, have left, and of course, Pro Wrestling Evolution are determined to continue on to build new characters. Well, they just announced a brand new rookie named Shizu Hikari will be making her debut on the 5th of August in Shikiba First Ring, which is very good to hear. So I'm very happy that they're trying to grow the process now that the original the original three are gone, which is sad, but it is what it is. Now, as you all know, recently the promotion known as Produce has dealt with certain situations with many wrestlers two wrestlers who were supposed to be, of course, part of the promotion, but unfortunately, because of the situation with WWE, it led to that. Now, of course, Eric Stevens, as you all know, decided to step away from wrestling again. He was fully aware of what's been going on recently with Produce, and he kind of put out something that was interesting, but also Produce kind of replied on that, and this is what he said. To be clear, I did not cancel off the Produce because I had another booking. I canceled because I was dealing with a crippling depression. And of course, it's understandable. And Produce replied to that saying, a booking with a man in the mirror is always valid. You would love to have you as our guest soon. So basically, Produce has no issues towards Eric for obvious reasons. Eric did not left because of another booking, and that's something that, of course, Produce does not like. But they're glad that they're saying your excuse, Eric Stevens, is valid. I mean, you are dealing with your own personal issues, and we have no problem with that. So they're giving him a bit of saying, you're good. Even you're always welcome to come back, and that's pretty good to hear that. Now, of course, Wrestling Observer were talking about this recently, and this between, of course, Brian Alvarez and Dave, and this is what they said. It seems pretty clear what's going on here. W does not want ID talent on the promotion airing on my AEW. This was coming from Brian. Now, Dave Meltzer replies, when they signed these people, they told them there would not be no restrictions to where they work or who they work against or anything. Brian replied, it seems to be a regular thing where WWE tells you one thing at the beginning and then they change it. Well, Dave goes, well, it means always like that. So basically, that's the problem, guys. If ID were okay with having them do whatever, appearing in other shows, it doesn't matter. But now they're making another excuse, and that's something I think they have always, that they change the rules when it suits them or something that they don't want to have. But it is what it is. So we'll see what happens with them. I'm sure Produce are going to try to move forward with that. I'm sure they don't want to make no deals with people from ID. So we'll see about that. But for now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I haven't decided yet. I know I'm behind on certain events, like the Ring of Honor event that took place this past Friday instead of Thursday, and I know I'm behind on certain events, and I'm going to try to catch up on those. But I also want to apologize to all of you about not doing reviews sooner after this past Friday. The reason is this: some things have changed, plans have changed, of course. So I had no idea exactly how this was going to go. So I decided to take my sweet time. Not to mention, we were already in the 4th of July stage, and I was a bit more, how do I say, not sure about this, but it worked out in my favor. So it felt like maybe a small little break that I might have needed, but it felt great. So we'll see what happens on the next episode. I haven't decided just yet, but I am trying to determine to catch up with other events that I haven't seen. Like, for example, the very first Produce show, um, some other events that I might have missed out that I haven't seen yet. But we'll see how things go from there. So there's a lot of things that I really, really want to catch up with. So we'll leave things as it is for now. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.